Katie. We have a fun episode planned for you guys today. We are talking all things New Year's. We recognize that this episode is not dropping until February, but we are going to be totally transparent and we are recording this right before the New Year's. So we thought we'd take this opportunity to help re-energize you. Maybe if you lost some steam within, your New Year's resolutions or anything that you wanted to change or up level, this is going to be the episode for you.
Absolutely. So 2023, here we come. It's right around the corner for us. And those of you listening to this, you are already well into it. A month, maybe even 6 weeks in. Puppy dogs barking in the background.
All good.
Is what it is. Keeping it real here. Where are you guys at? Where are you at with where you're at with your New Year's goals? Are you on course? Are you kind of needing a pick me up with it? This is such an inspiring time of the year for everybody. It's a fresh start. It's a chance to kind of change things, to go in a different direction, to let go of things, to really just kind of level up. So here today, we are going to talk about two different types of ways of looking at this. First, though, Miss Sarah, because I know it is something that you love to talk about and you do it every year. What is your power word this year?
Yeah, so let me explain kind of the premise behind the idea of power word. So it's been a couple years since I made a New Year's resolution or, set a goal or had all these ideas, because I feel like so many of us go in with great intentions, right? Like we have all these things that we want to do and accomplish and change, and we're all fired up, and then 6 weeks down the road we fizzle out, we're burnt out, we're overburdened, and it doesn't pan out the way we want, and then we beat ourselves up. So instead of setting a resolution or resolving to do or not do something anymore, I decided to create a yearly power word. So essentially, this is the word that I want to encapsulate the energy that I'm going to align with for the year. So it can be a word that kind of umbrellas every area of your life. That's kind of the way I look at it. I want it to touch on, my physical health, my relationships, my personal growth, all of those things, because they really are all tied together. And that's kind of the cool thing about this podcast as we go along, is it's going to help inspire that in all of you. It's going to help kind of awaken that within you, knowing that all of that really does tie together in some way. So anyway, going back to the power word, I always kind of think about how the year went previously and what I need to bring more of into the following year, just so that I feel like I'm making some forward progress and keeping that positive momentum going in my life. So my power word that I chose this year is authentic.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
I love that word, because to me, it just is hopefully going to empower me just to always stay true to myself, stay true to the values and the standards that I've set for my life, whether that is my health, my fitness, my nutrition, but also, my entrepreneurship goals, my relationship building, just staying true to who I am and being authentically me.
Absolutely. I love it. What are some previous words that you've used? Just to kind of give an example for people who might be like, where do I go with this? What are some previous words?
Yeah, perfect. I have used joy. That was actually one of the very first words, because I felt very disempowered in the past by setting resolutions. So I wanted to choose a word that was just very broad and I could use it pretty much in all aspects. So I chose joy. That was one of the first years. And then I've chosen the word truth. I've chosen the word, that was a 2020 word. If you know, you know. Last year, my word was heal. And I've used the word, I'm trying to think, I had another word. Oh, align. Align was my word in 2019. And heal, I think, was 2018 maybe. So yeah, like I said, it's been a few years, and it's always kind of just the best way to come about that word is just really reflecting on the previous year, which I know we're going to talk about in a second, but it really does help you expound, and figure out what the focus needs to be for you specifically in the upcoming year. So that's going to lead me to asking you, what's your power word, girlfriend?
So this is the first year that I am doing a power word because Sarah inspired me to do this. I earlier when we spoke, I told you I kind of had two, and I think I've narrowed it down to just one. And my word is going to be effort. Effort behind everything I do, everything I want to do, and keeping my focus on the effort that needs to be put into where I truly want to be in life. And I think that that is going to be a really good word for me. I have a little bulletin board here in the room I'm in, and I am going to actually create a little love note to myself, and put it up there so it is something that I see on a daily basis, to really just, are you doing the effort? Are you putting in the work? Are you aligned with where you want to be in the life that you want to live? Are you putting in the effort? Are you letting other things kind of cloud your judgment? So effort is going to be my word. I'm really excited about that, to kind of see how it goes with the year and keeping that, that focus. And I know I'll have you to help me, kind of remind me, because now that we know each other's words, we can definitely be a checks and balances for each other. I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, definitely. I think having that support is so important. So I do always recommend, when people determine their power word, share it with somebody, tell your girlfriend, tell your husband, tell your kids, whatever it looks like to you. Maybe you do it as a family or a friend group, like everybody choose a word. And then that way you have some sort of support, you have accountability, you've got inspiration to continue with it. And I love that you said you're going to write yourself a little note, because that's another thing I always have people do. I'm like, don't just choose the word, make an empowering statement out of it. Create some sort of mantra or an affirmation that you can use and you can repeat. You can save it on your phone. You can put it on your bathroom mirror, whatever that looks like. But take action with that word, because if it's just another word that you're just saying in your head, it's never going to really have the meaning and the power behind it to help you, keep moving in the direction you're trying to go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, for the last 11 years, I always created what was called a 100 list. And so I would write a list of 100 things that, not necessarily resolutions, but maybe things that I wanted to do. And it could be something as simple as like go bowling or play a game of pool, or it could be something as big as visit, a new state or go to a new restaurant, that kind of thing. And I have found that in the last couple of years, it started to fizzle. It started to really fizzle for me, making the list. So I'm really excited to try something new to kind of really just align my focus with one idea instead of so many. I still might make my 100 list just because I kind of like the idea of it. And it is something I did reference often throughout the year. But I think I'm going to be more focused in on just focusing on the power word this year and seeing how that works for me, as opposed to the big long list. I'm a total list maker by trade. It's my thing. And like I said, I'm probably still going to work on it. I have a short amount of time to get it done by the new year.
But 2 days, sister.
2 days. But I have, like I said, 11 previous years to look back that I can pull a lot of ideas from. Never once have I gotten through all 100, but it's always just been kind of a fun thing to, if I'm feeling like I need an adventure, or I'm needing to kind of do something that's kind of out of my normal routine, I can reference that list and it'll trigger, different ideas or different plans to do different things. So that's kind of something I've always done, but I think having the power word and kind of focusing on that this year will be a fun challenge for me. Yeah. Which brings me to one of the things I wanted to talk about today. 2 ways to kind of, look at things when I just said challenge me. I think one big thing about, the new year, like I said, when we first got started, it's a time to restart. It's a time to reset. And for a lot of people, that means that they want to bring something into their world. They want to, pull something in that's missing or lacking from their life. But I think we also, when we think that way, we leave out a group of people who are very content with what they have and who feel like they have enough and who are very grateful for everything. So really there is that balance and burnout, which, can be a big thing. But then there's also the other side of that between challenging yourself and complacency. And I really think that those are two things that, if talking about that today, I think can be ways to look at going into the new year and how we can level up. So, Sarah, tell me, what are some things? How do you feel about balance and burnout, or challenge and complacency?
Yeah, I like those two dynamics that you kind of just brought to the table, because I do feel like you said there are people that are very content with their lives. And I I have a lot of views on that, because I do believe, I have a true core belief that as humans, it's part of our identity to continue to evolve. And so there is that sense of always needing to be challenged. And when you're not challenged and you're not doing anything to grow or expand in your life, whether that is, in your physical
Physically, mentally,
fitness, yeah,
spiritually.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
anyone.
any area, if you're not challenging yourself to do something new or try something different, you fall into the category of being complacent. And I'm not necessarily saying that that is a bad thing, and neither are you, but I feel like it's human nature to seek a challenge, to want growth, to look for places that you can evolve and become a better, stronger, more resilient, whatever human. So I love that idea of, finding the challenge and not allowing so much complacency. And then vice versa. You talked about balance and burnout. And I think that's an important concept too, because I think when we set these New Year's resolutions, we have all this drive at the beginning of the year, we fizzle out because it's a lot. It's overwhelming. We put way too much on our plates, sometimes literally, and you
Yeah,
just,
literally.
it's very heavy, and it's hard to keep up with. And if you're not enjoying it, and if it becomes a task instead of, an exciting challenge for yourself, then you tend to burn out. And that's when people lose confidence in themselves, because they set out to do all these things and then they let themselves down again. So I think it's so important to recognize, what are your limits in avoiding that burnout feeling and still maintaining balance in all areas of your life while seeking the challenge. So I love that you kind of brought those worlds together.
And I think too, a big thing that a lot of people who might be listening are thinking, well, where do I begin with this? Like, where do I start with even understanding what this is? And I think one of the biggest things, and this topic about what I'm about to say can be a whole show in and of itself, but it's understanding your why, and understanding what deep down truly it is why you want what you want, or why you feel you don't have what you want, or why you feel like you deserve something, or why you feel like you need to look a certain way, or you need to, I don't know, have a certain job, or have a certain amount of money, or have a certain size house. Why? What is the why behind that? And I think understanding that, then you can kind of pick your category of where you're at. Are you in the burnout section? Are you in the balanced section? Are you needing to challenge yourself, or are you complacent? And it can kind of become this game almost of like a puzzle piece, and everybody's puzzle is going to look different. And I think, but understanding what your why is and coming to a place of like introspection and really knowing who you are innately, which I think is where you need to start. And you can start that, and Sarah, I know you're going to have a bunch of ideas with this. You can start that with journaling. You can start that with just, some quiet time to yourself. One of the things I love to do is just to have 10 minutes to myself a day and sit. How am I feeling? Why do I want this? Why am I feeling this way? And, kind of go from there. And you can really kind of navigate from there what it is that you truly want out of the new year, what it truly is that you want out of life.
Yeah, and I love that you just said, talking about that why, but connecting it to your emotions, how you actually feel. Because if you think about it, your emotions are just your compass. They're guiding you. They're telling you where to go next. The way you feel is guiding you to the next piece of your life always. So if you can use your emotions as fuel, in your direction, I feel like that's so important when you're trying to figure out what it is you want and why you want it. So yeah, emotions
Absolutely.
are a big anchor, in that. So I think what you said is really important too, spending time within, spending quiet time, whether that's journaling. I like to go for a walk. That's my favorite thing to do. I feel like my brain works really well when my body is moving and I'm quiet.
I do some of my
And
best thinking while I'm walking.
me too.
Some of the most creative ideas come to me when I'm walking.
Yep. I usually have, creative bursts, but I also feel like I can be really introspective, or I can even, if I'm in an argument with a friend or a family member, I have that time to really process. I feel like it's just so important. And I know we're going to talk about it in another episode, but I know like solitude is so important to you. And you've got your daily 5 that you incorporate every single day. And that is one of them. And it's just so important to be alone and really be with yourself and learn more about yourself and feel your emotions and discover your why and your purpose, in the direction that you're going in your life. So going back to where we started, it's just the best way to start is see where you're at. Where are you starting? Why are you here? Where do you want to go? And why do you want to be there?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think for a lot of people, the start of the new year, it is like I've said multiple times now, it is such an energizing pivotal point in every year for so many people. It's like a conditioned excitement for all of us. But by February, things have started to maybe fizzle out for you, and you've gotten kind of back into that comfort zone. And pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone, and I'm sure you've heard that phrase so often, but that doesn't mean going balls to the wall with it and making every element of your life outside of your comfort zone. So I think it's picking an area that you might be really happy with, and putting yourself outside of your comfort zone with it before then getting into the challenging things. Or if you're the type of person that the most challenging part of your life, you want to get that outside of that comfort zone yourself that way, but then keep and have in alignment the other areas of your life that you are happy with, and finding that flow of upwelling your life and really bringing your truest self to the surface. I think so many of us get lost in people, whether it's people pleasing, whether it's caring for others, whether it's just setting our own limitations on ourselves, whether because we don't feel that we're entitled to happiness or to joy or to success even. And I really think that those are things that we're all truly, truly have a human right to have. Happiness, success, joy, you name it. And it's, like, I don't know. I think that's finding one area to start in and then working your way out with that. And just some examples of things that you can do. If you want to expand your knowledge, find a book, read 20 pages a day. And even if you don't comprehend or like savor any of that, read 20 pages. And if the next day you need to read those same 20 pages again to get to really digest the information, do it. You're expanding your knowledge, you're expanding your intellect on a topic. If writing, managing emotions, or financial, with writing out a budget and really sticking to it. And it doesn't have to be complex. Start simple and then work your way into bigger and better things. Excuse me.
And
I'm getting over some sickness here.
You're fine. I think you hit the nail on the head though. Keeping it simple is like the key. That is literally, going back to people overburdening themselves with the new year. You got that energy and that drive, but if you take on too much all at once, you're going to burn out. And we talked about that already, but I think it's just so important to keep it simple and to keep continuing, with those actionable steps, those small steps. Keep it simple, but keep moving.
Absolutely. I agree. So what are some things that you plan to kind of do in terms of little simple changes in your own life that maybe can be examples and inspiration for our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I try to incorporate, and I do this every January, and I actually do it a lot with my clients now because it's I've seen such success in my own life because of it, but I try to pick 3 habits in January that I want to stick to for 31 days. So I have a habit tracker that I print, but you can do a bullet journal. You can write about it in your planner, a desk calendar. It doesn't really matter. Any way to track these 3 habits, and they can be any 3 habits. A lot of people pick physical things just because they're energized, to be more physically healthy or fit, things like that. But there's so many other areas, like you said, if you want to learn something, if you want to learn a new language, if you want to learn how to play guitar, if you want to, learn gymnastics, I don't know, whatever you want to do. But you're going to pick three habits that correlate with those things so that you essentially are just building that self-confidence. It always comes back to not letting yourself down, showing yourself, proving to yourself that you said you were going to do something and you took action for doing it. That's always going to inspire more action. I'm sure you've heard the quote, action inspires more action, inaction inspires inaction. So it's always kind of that forward momentum mentality. So I like, for example, this year, my 3 habits, they are simple things. They are things that I do sometimes. I just want to make sure that I do them more consistently. And then I can use those habits and build the next layer, the next tier in February, March. Once I get rolling into the year and I've proved to myself that I can continue these basic things, now I can add some more challenging things to my plate. So mine this January, honestly, are drinking 80 ounces of water a day, going for a 45-minute walk every day, and I forget the other one. I don't remember. It's not in front of me, but they're very, very simple. I think it was maybe no technology after 8 p.m. So that means I'm going to shut my TV off and I'm going to put my phone away. So after 8 o'clock at night, no screens. I'm going to read. I'm going to take a bath. I mean, there's literally a million things you can do. I know people are like, oh my God, what would I do, with the next 2 hours of my life? But I can give that time to myself, in any way that I need. Maybe sometimes it'll be stretching and yoga. Sometimes maybe I'll just go to bed, there might be times where I want to go to sleep at 8 o'clock. So I think just finding, like you said, those 3 simple things, or even if it's one, if you are one of those people that you lack a little trust in yourself, not thinking that you're going to follow through on something, start with one. It doesn't have to be 3 things. It doesn't have to be, I love your 100 list. I think I might adopt that because I just I love doing new things and I love lists a lot.
I love lists a lot too.
I think I'm going to do that. But if that sounds completely overwhelming to you and like there's no way that sounds like a good time, then don't do it. Start with one. Do one thing for yourself in January that's going to make you better by February.
Yeah. So for me, I don't necessarily have 3 things, but this is a habit that I'm going to try to adapt. And that is, if it's a task that takes 30 seconds, I'm going to do it right now.
Love it.
Instead of putting it off. And then I have 10 things that take 30 seconds, which then is a chunk of time that I could be spending doing something else. If it takes 30 seconds of my time, whether that's picking up dog toys before I go to bed, or whether that means wiping off the counter or doing the dishes, or you name it, anything that could take literally 30 seconds to do, I'm going to do it right in that moment, because in that 30 seconds of movement that I'm already doing things and I notice it. I notice it. Instead of going, oh, I'll do that later, I'm just going to do it right now and then move forward. And then I have more free time really in the end to do things that I love for fun.
Well, and if you think about too, just so that 30-second task, think about honestly how much more time in your mind that it has taken from you. So if you are sitting on the couch and you're thinking, I really should pick up the kitchen or whatever, and you've sat there for minutes on minutes, maybe for an hour while you're watching TV, whatever that is, thinking about it, it just took all that time from you. It took all that energy from you when, like you said, you could have done it in 30 seconds and then you would have no longer had to occupy space in your brain thinking about it.
Yes. And this is actually a habit that I started to incorporate a few months ago. And I still find that I waver on it. So I'm still using it into the new year. I'm still using it as my task, my habit of change to work on, even going into the new year. Even though I've already been working on it through the end of 2022, I'm still going to work on it into 2023 until it becomes so second nature to me that then I can start to incorporate other little tidbits of things. I could do 3 things instead of just the one, because this isn't necessarily one consistent habit. This is more along the lines of that awareness and really tapping into just my surroundings and being present of, okay, you can do this now, and you're going to be able to sit down on the couch and relax in 30 seconds. Yes, you may want it right now, but it's 30 seconds. And then, like you said, the time then and the shame that you might feel from sitting on the couch and being like, oh God, I should have just done the
Yeah.
freaking dishes, then that's consuming your time. That's consuming your thought process. So that's going to be my big thing, is to, focus on what can I do in this present moment? It has my attention, do it, carry on, go do what I love.
I love that. And I think both of us are really just trying to present ideas, for
Mhm.
you to utilize, because there's a massive amount of things that you can do or not do. I actually also create a list every year of not to do's. And it's all things that, maybe didn't serve my highest good from the previous year. It's not things that I want to carry into a brand new year because they aren't great habits or aren't great things for the next level of me. So I always am very aware of anything that I want to let go of. So it's not always a matter of what else can I do? What more can I do? What else can I add to my life? Sometimes it's, what do I need to let go of? What can I release? What is not good for me anymore? And I think, again, going back to that stillness, that solitude, that quiet time by yourself, because that's the only way that you're ever going to determine all of these things.
And I think too, releasing things, that is also a matter of where we got to get uncomfortable with the discomfort. And yes, I said that right. We have to get uncomfortable with the discomfort, because I think so many of us become comfortable in the discomfort that we have to start making ourselves a little bit uncomfortable in that discomfort, in that thing that we want to let go of, in that thing that no longer is serving us, but it's become so second nature. It's become a part of who we are. And it's a matter of finding a way to make yourself uncomfortable with that, to where you make the change of, okay, this is scary territory, but I know it's going to be for the better. You truly know it's going to be for the better, but it might take some work. And I think that it's that push of pushing yourself into that discomfort zone where the magic happens and where the changes really, really, really start to happen. And that's a difficult thing to do. But again, like we keep saying, keep it simple, keep it small, start with one thing, maybe 3. But if you want to just start with one, start with one.
Yep. And I think we will have to do a whole episode about comfort and discomfort and challenging yourself, because I do think that is something that's so, I don't want to say looked over, but that's the word that comes to mind, because I do think a lot of people get very comfortable. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Life should feel comfortable sometimes, but not all the time.
Not
So
all the time.
I definitely think we could do a whole episode on that. But I just want to come kind of full circle with everything, and just to wrap it all up. But I think having a power word in 2023, and having that mantra or that personal affirmation or whatever that looks like to you, that is just going to keep you moving, keep it in the back of your mind, keep it present, all the time, because it's so powerful. It can hold so much energy for you moving forward toward what you want to do and the life that you are creating. So I think I love the idea of a power word. I'm going to do a little shameless plug. If you go to my website, if you search my blog, New Year's, the article I wrote about the power word comes up, so you can get a little bit more insight as to maybe how to determine your power word, and choosing one that's really going to be impactful for you.
Yes. And you can also find some more information on our Instagram page, which is at UpWell The Podcast. We're going to be posting a lot of stuff there about our episodes, tips, tricks, you name it, from each and every one of our episodes. And Sarah, where can they find you personally online?
I am at Sarah Behrens on Instagram and Facebook. I have a TikTok that I sometimes get on, not usually, and YouTube channel coming soon. What about you?
You can find my business page at enhanced.wellness, which is all things in terms of my business. And then more of my personal page is at barefoot.katie on Instagram and Facebook. And as well as you can find us on YouTube with the UpWell The Podcast. So all sorts of places you can get our information. And yeah.
Can't get away from us.
Yeah, no, can't get away from this.
We're everywhere. We're like what is that? Visa? Everywhere you want to be. Is that
everywhere you want to be? Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. Little minions following.
I don't know where that came from. Oh well.
All
right, girlfriend. Well, I hope you have a great 2023. I love your power word, and I hope this episode inspired all of you to choose that word or multiple words or choose a habit or make 100 lists, whatever that looks like for you. I hope it brought that to the forefront of your mind.
Yes, we're moving into a wave of living that is back to a little bit more openness, a little bit more freedom, if you know, you know. And I, really embrace 2023 and live life the way you want to live it. I think that is the mission.
Yep, so, I love it. Yeah, that's my mission too. We're on a mission.
Awesome. All right, girl. It was great chatting with you.
You too. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.